Claiming far too many Texans have lost faith in our elections, Republican state lawmakers this week moved a slate of reforms and restrictions a step closer to becoming law. Aimed at reducing the likelihood of fraud, House Bill 6 and its Senate counterpart roll back pandemic-driven experiments in Harris County, like 24-hour polling places and drive-through voting, while also imposing harsh criminal penalties for those convicted of breaking the rules. Labeled voter suppression and Jim Crow 2 by Harris County Democrats, the Republican bills have drawn public opposition from big-name Texas corporations like Dell Computer and American Airlines, pushback which ignited the fury of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Well, let me tell you what, Mr. American Airlines, I take it personally. You're questioning my integrity and the integrity of the governor and the integrity of the 18 Republicans voted for this. When you suggest that we're trying to suppress the vote, you are in essence between the lines calling us racist, and that will not stand.
Patrick went on to call out Judge Lena Hidalgo and Mayor Sylvester Turner as race baiters and liars. Panel, Rice political scientist Mark Jones called the Democratic suppression charge disingenuous hyperbole, in large part because HB 6 and Senate Bill 7 essentially reinstate the election standards in place before the pandemic. What do you think of that read, Charles Blaine?
Yeah, so this is the second week in a row that I have to go kind of full partisan with this, and it's unfortunate because I don't like to do that. But the simple fact is that every single time we see any election integrity bill come up or any bill that Democrats don't like, they liken it to Jim Crow because they know it brings back a very bad memory to a lot of their base, and it's really wrong to continue to exploit that. This bill does not do that. It is not Jim Crow. People still have the same ability to vote post this bill being voted on as they did prior to it. And the corporations that are coming out against it, most of them have not read the bill because if they did, I don't think they would be as angry as they are. And the problem is that they are just responding to the bases, the Democratic base's anger about this that is being fed by these elected officials. And I will go back to what I said last week. If our county judge wants to talk about voter suppression, why don't we talk about how she took the power away from two duly elected black women who were elected to oversee our county elections and gave it to an appointed official who's shielded away from the voters' level of accountability. So I get really frustrated with this, especially when they go to this Jim Crow language because it's wrong.
All right, Chris Tritico, you know your way around election law. Is the suppression label accurate?
Well, it seems to be heading that direction. And look, if the lieutenant governor, all the lieutenant governor is saying to these corporations is, why don't you just shut up and write checks? That's really what they want. You don't come and tell me what to say or what to do. Just write me a check and be quiet, and I'll be happy. And we're going to do what we want, and you be happy with it. These measures that they're rolling back in the Senate bill and the House bill were all approved by the courts. And what they don't want is to expand voting. There wasn't a problem with the election. Everybody was happy. More people voted in the last election than any election in American history. Nobody was upset. Nobody was mad. Nobody was angry. And quite frankly, there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. So stop all this hype, and let the people vote. It's just that simple.
Jessica Colon, Patrick talks about polling that shows a huge swath of the American public, 30-40%, have lost in some part faith in the process. What are you hearing in Austin?
That's accurate, and I respectfully have to disagree with my good friend Chris. Actually, what Lieutenant Governor was saying was that the high-paid, powerful attorneys at these corporations did not read the legislation before casting their dispersions on this on this matter, as Charles said, and that's the brass tacks of it. These corporations pay a lot of money to their attorneys, and I'm pretty stunned, and we should all be stunned that they're casting an opinion before reading the bill. This bill really goes into the process that happens at the polling location. We were talking earlier that a lot of voters didn't really feel that they had a bad experience at the polls. That's really not what this bill is necessarily about. It's more about poll watchers and how the ballots are handled and can people be there, and how poll watchers are being treated and having access at the ballot board. It's really about the process of protecting the integrity of our votes from the very moment that they're cast to the moment that they're counted. And that's what these bills are about. So let's just be clear and make sure that we're all talking about the same topics.
Bill King, what's your take?
I think this is both parties talking to their bases. There's not any kind of significant election fraud. There's not kind of any significant voter oppression. Chris Perkins, a very respected Republican pollster, ran a poll. 97% of Texans thought that there were no problems with the election. 87% had or 83% had a good experience at the polls, or maybe I've got those reversed. Look, if you just go out and poll the American people, this is not, what they want to know is, why did we freeze in the dark? Why did the city of Houston not able to deliver water in the middle of a snowstorm? That's what we want to know about. This is all partisan fringe, and it shows the degree to which the political agenda has been captured by the 10 or 15% on both sides. Those in us in the middle are not worried about this. The one thing I'm absolutely opposed to in these bills, though, are the more severe criminal penalties for assisting voters. I think that's a very dangerous road to go down.
All right, Chalwin, jump in here.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with the data. Let the data speak for itself. If the people are happy with the voting process, the status quo doesn't mean it's right. The status quo is why we've had slavery for hundreds of years. Racist policies produce racist outcomes. So make that very clear.